7, the doctor slipped me a note. Don't go home, run. That night I found out why. The doctor slipped me a secret note that read, don't go home, run. That night I found out why. My own family, the people I loved more than anything, were planning to have me committed to a nursing home so they could steal everything I had. But what they didn't know was that I had a secret that could change everything. My name is Martha Caldwell, and I'm 70 years old. For 45 years, I believed I had raised a loving son. Benjamin came into my life when he was just 2, a little boy my husband and I adopted after he'd been abandoned. I gave him everything: love, an education, years of sacrifice. When my husband passed away 10 years ago, Benjamin became my only family, along with his wife, Eleanor, and my granddaughter, Olivia. But everything changed one Tuesday afternoon, during what should have been a simple doctor's appointment. Dr. Elliot Sterling, my physician for years, examined me as usual, but something felt off. His hands trembled slightly as he checked my blood pressure, and he avoided meeting my eyes. "Everything looks good, Mrs. Caldwell," he said, his voice tight. "Your labs are perfect, your heart is strong, you have many good years ahead of you." As I got up to leave, he stepped closer. While I reached for my purse, he slipped something into it, a folded piece of paper, quick and discreet. "Take good care, Mrs. Caldwell," he said with a strained smile. "And remember, family isn't always what it seems." A chill ran through me. What did he mean by that? Why would he pass me a note like that? I left the office, heart pounding, but decided not to read it until I got home. During the cab ride, my mind raced. Dr. Sterling had always been calm, professional. He'd known Benjamin since he was a teenager. Why was he acting so strangely now? When I walked through the front door, Benjamin was sitting in the living room with Eleanor and Olivia. They were speaking in hushed voices but went silent the instant they saw me. Eleanor quickly hid some papers behind her back. "How was your doctor's appointment, Mom?" Benjamin asked, smiling faintly, but his eyes were cold. "Everything's fine," I replied as evenly as I could. "The doctor says I'm in perfect health." Eleanor and Benjamin exchanged a look that didn't escape me. Why did they look disappointed? Were they hoping I'd been diagnosed with something serious? "That's great, Grandma," Olivia said flatly. "Means you've got plenty of time left to enjoy yourself." That night at dinner, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Benjamin barely spoke. Eleanor answered in single words, and Olivia wouldn't even look at me. "Is something wrong?" I finally asked. "No, Mom," Benjamin said quickly. "We're just tired." After dinner, I went to my room with a heavy heart. Dr. Sterling's note burned in my mind. With trembling hands, I pulled it from my purse and unfolded it. It read, "Mrs. Caldwell, your family was here yesterday. Eleanor asked me about your mental state and if I could certify that you needed special care. They want to put you in a nursing home. They also asked about your inheritance and assets. Don't go home. Run. Dr. Sterling." My hands shook uncontrollably. My own family, the son I had loved more than life itself, the daughter-in-law I treated like my own, the granddaughter who had been my joy. Suddenly, everything made sense. The strange looks, the whispers, the hidden papers. They weren't disappointed I was healthy. They were furious the doctor hadn't helped them. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house made me jump. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, asking myself how things had come to this. How had the family I'd sacrificed everything for turned against me? Around 2 a.m., I heard voices in the kitchen. I crept to my door and listened. "The damn doctor wouldn't cooperate," Eleanor said bitterly. "I told him the old lady's losing her mind, that she leaves the gas on, but he insisted she's fine." "Relax, my love," Benjamin said. "We'll find another doctor who'll sign the papers we need." "But what do we do in the meantime?" Olivia asked. "I already got my college spot in the U.S. I need that money now, not in 5 years when she finally dies of old age." "Olivia, don't talk like that," Benjamin scolded weakly. "But You're right. We need to act fast. The house alone is worth $500,000, plus her pension and savings. We could live comfortably until she's gone. I didn't marry you to take care of some senile old woman, Eleanor snapped. I thought she'd die years ago. She's still here, spending our money. Our money? My blood boiled. Every dollar I had came from decades of hard work, mine and my late husband's. Tomorrow, Benjamin continued, I'll talk to a lawyer. Maybe we can have her declared incompetent without a doctor. And if that doesn't work, Eleanor added coldly, we'll make her life miserable until she agrees to go herself. Stop cooking for her. Take her TV away. Make her feel like the burden she is. Mom, that's cruel, Olivia said, then added, though honestly, I'm tired of pretending to love her. She's always watching us, asking questions, being nosy. My knees nearly gave out. These were the people I had devoted my entire life to. Remember my 15th birthday? Olivia said. She made me wear that hideous red dress. I swore I'd get her back one day. And what I can't stand, Eleanor hissed, is how she brags about being such a good mother. She only adopted Benjamin because she couldn't have her own kids. Enough, Benjamin muttered, sounding bored. Next week I'll tell her we found a nice nursing home. If she refuses, we move to Plan B. What's Plan B? Olivia asked. We make her actually lose her mind, he said coldly. We switch her meds, hide her things, tell her she did things she didn't do. In a month, any doctor will certify she's unstable. I gasped silently. They didn't just want my money. They wanted to destroy me completely. Eleanor laughed softly. Once she's committed, we'll have access to everything. Her accounts, her pension, her house. No one will ever suspect. To everyone else, we'll look like the perfect, caring family. They laughed, all three of them. At that moment, something inside me broke. Not my heart, but my faith, my belief that love was always returned, that family was sacred. First thing tomorrow, I'll copy her cards, Eleanor whispered. We can spend a little at a time so she won't notice. And I'll check for her will, Benjamin said. If we find it, we'll just modify it. How? Olivia asked. Let's say she decided to leave everything to us out of gratitude, Benjamin said with a smirk. Dad, you're a genius, Olivia said. They were right about one thing. I had no one else, no friends, no siblings, no living parents. I had isolated myself for them. But they didn't know my secret. When my husband died, he left me more than memories. He left me $2.2 million in a hidden offshore account and 3 properties abroad. I never told Benjamin. I wanted to see if he loved me, not for what I had. Now I knew the truth. Well, Benjamin said finally, tomorrow we start. And remember, act normal. Eleanor chuckled. I'm an excellent actress. When their footsteps faded, I stayed frozen, clutching Dr. Sterling's note. He was right, I had to run. But I wouldn't run like a frightened old woman. I'd run like someone waking from a 45-year dream. That night, I planned everything. At 5 a.m., while they slept, I packed a small suitcase, documents, clothes, medicine, and the notebook with my secret accounts. Before leaving, I turned on my phone's voice recorder and walked past their room. They were already awake, whispering. Do you think she suspects anything? Eleanor asked. Impossible, Benjamin said. She's too old and trusting. She has nowhere to go, no money, no friends. She's pathetic. Perfect. I had all the evidence I needed. I left a note on the kitchen table. Gone to run some errands. Be back later. Martha. They'd never suspect a thing. I took a cab to the bank, withdrew $5,000, and checked my hidden accounts. Everything was still there. Then I headed to the Grand Imperial Hotel, quiet, secure, and elegant. The receptionist smiled politely. How long will you be staying with us, ma'am? I'm not sure, I said. A week, maybe longer. Depends on how certain family matters unfold. She nodded. We'll make sure you're comfortable? And for the first time in a long, long while, I finally felt safe. As I rode up in the elevator, I felt a strange mix of terror and excitement. For the first time in decades, I was making decisions purely for myself. The suite was beautiful, spacious, elegantly decorated, with a breathtaking view of the city. It had everything I needed. I sank into the sofa in the living room, and for the first time since the night before, I let my emotions take over. I cried. I cried for the 45 years I had devoted to raising a son who saw me only as an obstacle. I cried for the countless humiliations I had endured without even realizing it. I cried for the woman I used to be before I became the perfect grandmother they could so easily despise. But when the tears finally stopped, I wiped them away and started planning. I pulled out my notebook and made a list. First, contact my financial advisors overseas to activate my hidden accounts. Second, hire the best lawyer in the city. Third, find a private investigator to help me gather proof of everything my family had done and what they were still planning to do. At exactly 2 o'clock, my phone rang. It was Benjamin. "Mom, where are you? It's 2 in the afternoon and you haven't come back." His tone sounded worried, but I could hear the irritation simmering beneath it. "I'm fine, son," I said calmly. "I decided to take a day for myself. It's been a long time since I did that." "A day for yourself? What's that supposed to mean? Where exactly are you right now?" His voice had that sharp, controlling edge I knew too well. "I'm in the city, taking care of a few things I needed to do," I lied softly. "Don't worry, I'll be back when I'm finished." "Mom, this isn't like you. You always tell us where you're going. Eleanor's worried, and so is Olivia. We need to know where you are." For the first time in years, I heard something unexpected in his voice. Panic. But it wasn't concern for my well-being. It was fear, because he had lost control of me. "You know what, Benjamin?" I said, surprising even myself with how steady my voice was. "I'm 70 years old. I think I'm old enough to make my own decisions about where to go and what to do." There was silence. Then, "Mom, you're scaring me. You don't sound like yourself. Are you taking your medications?" And there it was, the beginning of their strategy. He was already planting the seed that I was losing my mind. "I'm perfectly fine, son. In fact, I've never been better," I said, and hung up. Then I turned off my phone. I needed peace and focus for what was coming. That afternoon, I met with the most prestigious law firm in the city. The head attorney, Dr. Graham Montgomery, a sharp man in his 50s, saw me personally after I mentioned my budget. "I need complete legal protection," I told him. "My family is trying to have me declared incompetent so they can take my assets, but I have recordings that prove it's a conspiracy." He listened carefully as I played the recordings I'd made that morning. His expression darkened with every minute. "Mrs. Caldwell," he said at last, "this is very serious. What your family is doing constitutes elder abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, and possibly forgery. We could pursue criminal charges." "That's exactly what I want," I said firmly. "But I want to do it strategically. I want them to pay. Deeply and painfully." A slow smile spread across his face. "Mrs. Caldwell, I think you and I will work very well together. I'll assign my best team to you, but I need you to tell me everything. Absolutely everything." So I did. I told him about adopting Benjamin, my late husband, all the years of sacrifice, the secret inheritance, everything. He took careful notes. "Do you know exactly how much money you have in your private accounts?" he asked. $2.2 million in cash, plus 3 properties overseas worth about $1.5 million combined, I replied. He paused, then looked up at me with something close to admiration. "Mrs. Caldwell, you're not just a victim. You're a powerful woman who's been underestimated by her family. Let's use that power to teach them a lesson they'll never forget." For the first time in days, I smiled genuinely. The war had begun, and this time I had the right weapons. That night, from the comfort of my suite, I turned on my phone. 37 missed calls from Benjamin, 15 from Eleanor, 8 from Olivia. The text messages were frantic. Mom, please answer. We're so worried. Martha, if you don't respond, we're calling the police. Grandma, where are you? Dad says you might be in trouble. I replied only to Benjamin, I'm fine. Don't worry, I'll come back when I'm ready. He answered instantly, Mom, this isn't normal. You need to come home now. Eleanor made your favorite dinner. His favorite dinner. As if, after 45 years, he didn't know that Eleanor had never cooked anything special for me. Another lie. Another manipulation. The next morning, Dr. Montgomery called early. Mrs. Caldwell, we already have updates. My investigator discovered your daughter-in-law has been using your personal information to open credit cards in your name for the past 6 months. What? I gasped. She has 5 unauthorized cards with an accumulated debt of $43,000, spent on luxury goods, restaurants, even a trip to the Florida Keys last month. But I've never been to the Florida Keys. No, ma'am, they have. Your family took a week-long vacation using your money, claiming they were visiting Eleanor's sick mother. The memory hit me like a slap. I remembered Eleanor's tears, her story about her mother being ill, how I'd even given them extra cash to help. What else? I asked, my voice trembling. Your son Benjamin lost his job 8 months ago but never told you. He's been living off your savings and pension. And he's contacted multiple doctors, trying to find one willing to certify that you suffer from senile dementia. Each word felt like a knife twisting deeper. And Olivia? I whispered. She's 3 months pregnant. She's lying to her parents about the father. It's a married man in his 50s who's now refusing to take responsibility. Oh my God. And there's more. Eleanor's been having an affair with your neighbor, Dave, the husband of your friend Carol. We have photos and videos. They meet at a motel twice a week while Benjamin thinks she's at yoga. The irony was crushing. They wanted to destroy me for being unstable, yet they were the ones living lies. Document everything, I told Dr. Montgomery firmly. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. When the time comes, I want proof of it all. Of course, he said, but if I may suggest, don't confront them yet. Let them dig their own graves a little deeper. That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went shopping. 3 new dresses, black, red, and emerald green, new shoes, a fine leather handbag, and a visit to the city's top salon. The stylist, a kind young woman named Sophia, worked on my hair for 3 hours. You have such beautiful hair, she said. Why have you neglected it? Because for years I thought it didn't matter. I thought my only purpose was to take care of everyone else. Well, those days are over, she said with a smile. When I'm done, you'll look like the queen you've always been. And she was right. When I saw myself in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. My hair was stylish, my face radiant. I looked powerful. That evening, I called Benjamin. Mom, finally, where have you been? His voice was furious, not concerned. Taking care of myself, I said calmly. It's been enlightening. Mom, you can't just disappear. We're your family. We have a right to know where you are. A right? I repeated softly. Since when does my family have a right over me? Since you started acting erratically, he shot back. You need to see a specialist. A specialist? I asked. What kind? A psychologist, maybe. Someone to help you with these changes. Perfect. He was admitting his intentions on a call I was recording. You're right, I said sweetly. I do need specialists, experts in family fraud, elder abuse, and psychological manipulation, because that's exactly what you've been doing to me. The silence that followed was almost satisfying. Mom, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the fake credit cards Eleanor opened in my name, the doctors you contacted, the plan to declare me incompetent. I know everything. Mom, that's ridiculous. You're imagining things. I also know you lost your job and have been living off my money. I know about the Florida trip you paid for with stolen funds, and I know about a dozen other things that will shock you when you see them in court. Mom, you're delirious. Delirious? Last night I heard you plotting to switch my medications. Is that delusion too? Another long silence. Mom, please, come home. We can talk as a family. No, Benjamin, we're no longer family. Family doesn't betray you or destroy your mind for money. Mom, please. I'm giving you one chance. Confess, return what you stole, and maybe I can forgive you. We have nothing to confess, he said, but his voice was shaking. Then I'll see you in court. Good night. I hung up, and for the first time in days, I felt true peace. The war had officially begun, and I had all the weapons. Over the next few days, the calls kept coming. At first, they begged and cried. Olivia's tearful messages, Eleanor's trembling apologies, Benjamin's voice soft with false concern. When that didn't work, the tone changed. Benjamin's next voicemail was sharp and cold. Mom, if you don't come back, we'll have to take legal action to protect you from yourself. Your behavior is forcing us to consider guardianship. But Dr. Montgomery had prepared me for this. Let them file, he'd said. It'll only prove their real intentions. And we already have 3 psychiatrists confirming your mental health is perfect. Meanwhile, my investigator kept digging. Mrs. Caldwell, he said during our Friday meeting, your family's accelerating their plans. Yesterday, Benjamin went to your bank, claiming you'd had a psychotic episode and that he needed access to your finances. And what did the bank say? Thankfully, the manager followed protocol. He told Benjamin he'd need official documents to make any changes. When Benjamin kept insisting, they had to ask him to leave. There's more, the investigator continued gravely. Eleanor has been selling your belongings. Yesterday, she listed several of your antique furniture pieces online, and she even tried to pawn your jewelry collection. The appraiser refused, said they clearly belonged to an older woman, and Eleanor couldn't prove ownership. My heart pounded. Those jewels were gifts from my late husband, one-of-a-kind pieces he'd collected over decades. And my granddaughter, Olivia? I managed to ask, my throat tight. She's the most active of them all, he said. She's been telling her friends you're suffering from advanced Alzheimer's and that the family plans to have you committed. She's also been borrowing money under that excuse, claiming it's for your medical care. Each word cut deeper. They weren't just stealing from me. They were destroying my reputation, twisting my supposed illness into a scam. But here's the most interesting part, the investigator went on. Last night, the 3 met with a man named Paul Hayes, a document forger, well known in the city's criminal circles. They're planning to create fake medical papers declaring you mentally incompetent. A chill ran through me. A forger? I whispered. Yes, Hayes specializes in falsifying medical records and doctors' signatures. It was worse than I'd imagined. They weren't just greedy. They were willing to commit serious crimes to erase me. That afternoon, I called Dr. Montgomery. It's time, I said. If we wait any longer, they'll have fake documents ready. I agree, Mrs. Caldwell, he replied. Are you prepared for Phase 2? Phase 2 was simple and brilliant. Instead of confronting them, we'd let them incriminate themselves publicly. On Monday morning, I dressed in my best black dress, put on my finest jewelry, and headed to the city's most prestigious real estate agency. I had an appointment to view luxury homes, each worth over $1 million. Mrs. Caldwell, greeted Rick, the polished real estate agent. I understand you're looking for a high-value property. That's right, I smiled. Something elegant, modern, secure. We were halfway through viewing a magnificent mansion when familiar voices echoed from the entrance. Excuse me, I said. I think I recognize those people. There they were, Benjamin, Eleanor, and Olivia, dressed to impress, speaking with another agent. We'd like to sell a property, Benjamin said confidently. Our mother's house. She's unwell, and we have power of attorney. Do you have the documentation? The agent asked. Well, We're still finalizing the paperwork, Eleanor stammered. Just a few days away. I stepped into view. Hello, family, I announced loudly. They froze. Benjamin turned white. Eleanor's mouth fell open. Olivia stepped back in shock. Mom, Benjamin managed, what are you doing here? The same as you, apparently, I said. Though I'm buying, not selling. Rick approached me. Mrs. Caldwell, do you know these people? Unfortunately, yes, I said. They're my family. Or so I thought. Benjamin tried to regain control. Mom, we need to talk. About what? I asked. Selling my house without permission? The forged documents? The fake power of attorney? The other agent looked uneasy. If there's a legal dispute, we can't proceed with any appraisal. There's no dispute, Eleanor blurted. She's just not well lately. Not well? I interrupted, raising my voice. Is that why I'm buying $1.5 million home with my own money? Rick's eyes widened. Olivia whispered, $1.5 million? Yes, dear, I said sweetly. You're senile? Grandmother seems to be doing just fine. I took out my phone and dialed. Dr. Montgomery, I'm at Richardson and Associates Realty. My family's here trying to sell my property without authorization. Could you send someone to document this? Of course, Mrs. Caldwell, he replied. We'll have a representative there shortly. I turned to my family. We'll wait for my lawyers. They'll verify what documents you supposedly have and how you obtained them. Benjamin tried to step closer. Mom, this is a misunderstanding. No, I said firmly. There's nothing left to misunderstand. I no longer have a home with you in it. Eleanor began to cry. Martha, please, we're family. We did it for your own good. For my own good? I shot back. Forging my medical history was for my own good? Stealing from me with fake credit cards was for my own good? Everyone in the office was staring now. Agents, clients, secretaries. Their faces mirrored disgust and disbelief. Olivia shook her head. We don't know what you're talking about. Oh, really? I said, and played a recording from my phone. Benjamin's voice filled the room. We'll make her lose her mind, switch her meds, hide her things, tell her she did what she didn't. In a month, any doctor will say she's insane. The silence was absolute. Then Eleanor screamed, That recording is illegal. Not in this state, I replied evenly, and not when it prevents a crime. Just then, 2 lawyers and a notary from Montgomery and Associates entered. Mrs. Caldwell, one said, we understand there's a dispute regarding your authority over your own estate. That's correct, I answered. Please document that these 3 individuals have no legal claim or power of attorney over my assets, and that any attempt to act otherwise constitutes fraud. The lawyer turned to Benjamin. Sir, may we see your documentation? He opened his mouth, closed it, then muttered, We're in the process of... In other words, I said, you have nothing. Their public humiliation was only the beginning. Outside, they followed me, shouting and pleading. Mom, wait, we can fix this, Benjamin yelled. Grandma, please, Olivia sobbed. Eleanor's mask finally dropped. You bitter old woman. You used us for years. Benjamin gave you his best years. The best years? I turned from the cab window. You mean the years I worked 18-hour days to support him? The years I sacrificed everything? You chose to adopt him, Eleanor hissed. No one forced you. I never asked for gratitude, I said coldly. Only decency. Apparently, that was too much. The cab pulled away, leaving them shouting in the street. That afternoon, Dr. Montgomery called me in. Extraordinary news, he said with a rare smile. After your confrontation, Benjamin, paid the forger $50,000 to speed up your fake medical papers. $50,000 from where? Credit cards in your name, and Eleanor sold her car. But here's the twist. Paul Hayes is an FBI informant. They recorded everything. Your family's not just under state investigation. They're now facing federal charges. I was speechless. That night in my hotel suite, I decided it was time to speak my truth, publicly. I created an account on the country's most popular live streaming platform. My title, A Grandmother Tells the Truth About Her Family. At 8 p.m., I went live. At first, 3 viewers, then dozens, then hundreds. Good evening, I began, looking straight into the camera. My name is Martha Caldwell. I'm 70 years old, and tonight I'm going to tell you a story that will change how you see perfect families. By the end of the hour, over 3,000 people were watching. I told them everything, from Benjamin's adoption to the forged documents. I played the recordings, showed the evidence, the chat filled with messages of support. You're so brave. Sue them. My grandmother went through the same thing. Then my phone rang, live on air. It was Olivia. Grandma, please stop. You're ruining our lives. I'm ruining yours? I repeated. Did you think about mine? Everyone's watching. My friends, my teachers. And how would I feel locked away in a nursing home, declared insane, stripped of everything? We were just exploring options. Exploring options? I snapped, my voice breaking. I raised you, Olivia. I loved you, and you watched them plan to destroy me. The silence on the line was heavy. Then she whispered, I needed money for college. You thought I was your personal bank? I asked. Explain that to the 4,000 people listening. Another silence, then barely audible. How do you know all this? Because I'm not the senile old woman you think I am, I said. I know everything, including things about you that your parents don't. She hung up. 5 minutes later, Benjamin called, shouting, Mom, turn off that stream right now. Hello, Benjamin, I said sweetly. Would you like to say that to the 5,000 people watching us live? This is defamation. I'll sue you for slander. Slander? I repeated the word slowly, letting it hang in the air. Is it slander to play recordings where you all plotted to drive me insane? Is it slander to show bank statements proving you've been stealing from me for months? That's illegal. Those recordings, Benjamin stammered. Not in this state, son, I interrupted coldly, and certainly not when they're made to prevent a crime. But tell me, Benjamin, would you like to explain to my 7,000 viewers why you paid a document forger $50,000 yesterday? Afternoon. The silence that followed stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. How do you know that? He whispered. Because Paul Hayes, I said, savoring the moment, is an FBI informant. Congratulations, Benjamin. You're not just under investigation for family fraud anymore. You're part of a federal conspiracy. You're lying, he shouted. Want to bet? I replied. Check the news tomorrow morning, or better yet, wait for the federal agents to knock on your door. The live chat exploded. FBI, justice for Grandma. Mrs. Caldwell's a legend. Benjamin's voice cracked. Mom, please. Stop this. We can still fix it. We're family, aren't we? I said quietly. A family doesn't betray. A family doesn't steal. A family doesn't plan the mental destruction of its own. What you are isn't a family. It's a criminal organization that shares a last name. He tried again. We gave you 45 years of our lives. You didn't give me 45 years, I said, my voice trembling. I gave you 45 years of mine. I gave up everything for you. And you were just waiting for me to die so you could inherit what you thought I had. We needed that money, Mom. We have debts, problems. And that's why you decided to drive me insane? To steal from me? To destroy the last years of my life? It wasn't personal, he whispered. Those 3 words struck like a knife. It wasn't personal. 45 years of love, sacrifice, and devotion, and to him, none of it was personal. You're right, I said finally. It's not personal anymore. I'll see you in court. I ended the call and looked into the camera. And that, dear viewers, was my family, I said with a faint, weary smile. Tomorrow I'll continue this story. Good night. I ended the stream with over 7,000 viewers and hundreds of messages of support. For the first time in weeks, I went to sleep knowing I wasn't alone. The next morning, my phone buzzed relentlessly. My live stream had gone viral. Thousands of messages poured in, offers of help, compassion, and outrage. "Mrs. Caldwell," one message read, "my son did the exact same thing. You've given me courage." Another said, "I'm a lawyer specializing in elder abuse. Your case is textbook. I'll represent you for free." But the message that moved me most came from a social worker named Carol Sterling. "Mrs. Caldwell, your courage saved a man yesterday. His family tried to have him committed the same way. After seeing your stream, I stopped them." Her words brought tears to my eyes. Maybe my pain could save others. At 9 o'clock, Dr. Montgomery called. "Mrs. Caldwell, I have news that changes everything," he said, his voice brimming with triumph. "The FBI arrested Paul Hayes last night. During interrogation, he confessed to everything, including that Benjamin paid him to forge medical records and a fake will leaving all your assets to your family. They plan to declare you mentally incompetent, have you committed, and wait for you to die in the nursing home." I felt my knees weaken. A fake will? My God. "According to Hayes," he continued, "Eleanor contacted him 4 months ago. It wasn't desperate. It was calculated." I was still processing that when my phone rang again. "Olivia." "Grandma," she said, her voice breaking. "Please, can we talk? Just you and me." "For what?" I asked coldly. "Another lie?" "No," she whispered. "To tell you the truth, I can't live like this anymore." Something in her tone, raw and desperate, made me pause. "Fine," I said, "but in public, and I'll be recording. Whatever you want." We met in the cafe downstairs. Olivia arrived pale, her eyes swollen from crying, clothes wrinkled. Gone was the polished, careless girl I'd raised. "Grandma," she began, "I never wanted things to go this far." "How far did you think was acceptable?" "At first, they just talked about convincing you to move to a luxury home. Said it would be better for you, that you'd have company." "And you believed them?" "I thought maybe they were right," she said softly. "But then I found out about the money." "What money?" "They went through your papers when you weren't home. Mom even called your bank pretending to be you. She visited your old boss to ask about your pension." I clenched my fists. Each revelation was a wound. "When they realized you might live another 20 years, Olivia continued through tears. "Mom said she couldn't wait that long. She needed the money now." "What for?" "To pay Dad's debts. He lost over $100,000 betting on sports. He owes dangerous people." The truth hit me like a storm. "And you, Olivia, what did you need?" "I needed money for college and for other things." She hesitated, hand drifting to her belly. "Other things like what?" "I'm pregnant," she whispered. "The father's married. He doesn't want to know." My heart broke and burned at once. "And that's why you helped them try to destroy me?" "I didn't know they wanted to make you crazy," she sobbed. "I thought they just wanted a doctor to say you needed care." "What's the difference?" I asked quietly. She looked down. "I guess there isn't one." For a moment, neither of us spoke. "Grandma," she said finally, "since you left, everything's falling apart. They fight all day. Mom blames Dad's gambling, Dad blames her greed, and me, I'm just scared." "What do you want from me, Olivia?" "To tell the truth," she said. "If you testify against them, I'll testify too. I'll tell the court everything." "Why now?" I asked. "Because last night Dad said if things go wrong, they'll blame me. They'll say I stole your jewels to buy drugs. Grandma, I don't do drugs, but he said it's believable that I'm young, reckless, expendable." My stomach twisted. They were willing to sacrifice their own daughter. "Do you have proof?" She nodded and showed me her phone. Recordings of their fights, texts where they planned to blame me, videos of Mom counting the money from your jewelry. Why record all that? Because I realized that once they're done with you, they'll destroy me too. I looked at her, truly looked at her, and saw sincerity, fear, and regret. Olivia, I said softly, if you do this, your life will change. You'll lose them forever. My relationship with them is already over, she said through tears. They ended it when they decided to use me. And what do you want in return? I want to finish high school. I want help figuring out what to do about the baby. And I want you to teach me to be strong, like you. I reached across the table and took her hand. Then listen carefully. If you help me get justice, I'll help you with school, your child, everything. But more than that, I'll teach you what real family means, loyalty, respect, love, and that sometimes protecting yourself means walking away from blood. Deal, Grandma, she whispered. Deal, my girl, I said, squeezing her hand. You're my ally now, and allies protect each other. 3 weeks later, the trial began. The courtroom overflowed with cameras, reporters, and supporters. Benjamin and Eleanor sat at the defense table, shadows of their former selves, gaunt, pale, broken. The prosecution presented everything, the recordings, the forged documents, the fraud, the conspiracy. But the moment Olivia took the stand, the room held its breath. She told it all. The manipulation, the plans, the money, the lies. When she finished, even the jury looked shaken. The defense tried to tear her apart. Miss Caldwell, you're pregnant, aren't you? You need money? Yes, she said clearly, but I'm not lying to get it. I'm telling the truth because it's right. And didn't your grandmother promise you help in exchange for testimony? She promised me support, Olivia said proudly, because I found the courage to do what's right. There's a difference. When it was my turn, I looked straight at Benjamin. They made me question every moment of love I thought was real, I told the jury. They made me wonder if I was ever anything but an obstacle. But today, I'm free. Free from manipulation, from guilt, from pretending this was a family. The defense tried to paint me as a bitter old woman hoarding wealth. Mrs. Caldwell, they asked, isn't it true you have millions your family didn't know about? Yes, I said calmly, but money doesn't justify fraud, forgery, or cruelty. The trial lasted 5 days. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Benjamin received 12 years, Eleanor 10. When the verdict was read, Eleanor sobbed. Benjamin just stared hollow-eyed. Outside the courthouse, a reporter asked, Mrs. Caldwell, do you feel justice was served? Legal justice, yes, I said. But true justice was rediscovering who I am, before it was too late to live. 6 months later, Olivia and I moved into a small house filled with light and peace. She finished high school with honors and chose to keep her baby. She's studying law now, specializing in elder protection. Grandma, she asked one afternoon in the garden, do you regret adopting Dad? I don't regret loving him, I said softly. I only regret confusing kindness with sacrifice. And what did you learn from all this? That real family isn't defined by blood, I told her. It's built on loyalty, respect, and love. It's better to be alone with dignity than surrounded by betrayal, and it's never too late to start over. Now, at 71, I'm living my fullest life. I travel, read, volunteer, and run a foundation against elder abuse. Benjamin and Eleanor write from prison sometimes. Their letters go straight to the trash. Some doors, once closed, must stay shut forever. Every night before I sleep, I thank the universe for 3 things: Dr. Sterling's courage, my own resilience, and the reminder that every ending can be a beginning if you're brave enough to write it yourself. Kindness still guides me, but now it's tempered with wisdom, and for the first time in decades, I am truly, completely free.